closely, or pay closer attention. And this is a theme that we see in a lot of Native storytelling, is the importance of paying attention. My name is Ryan Schlesinger. I am a teaching assistant professor at Oklahoma State in the English department. I'm an Americanist broadly, so I study and teach American literature and different art forms from about 1800 to the present, but I also teach American Literature 1, which I take all the way back to Native American origin stories. Currently, I am teaching a course called Native Film and Literature, where we are surveying the history of Native American representation in American cinema, looking at the pivot point in the 80s and 90s where agency was returned to Native artists to tell their own stories.
What's your name?
Hayden.
Katie Reynolds.
Lexi Eves. Emma Jones.
What is your tribe?
Cherokee and Potawatomi.
The Chickasaw Nation. A member of the Cherokee tribe.
I am Muskogee Creek.
I am enrolled in Pawnee, Wichita descendant.
What has your experience here at Okstate been like as a Native American student? Probably not that much different from everyone else.
I mean, I don't really get treated differently because I'm not really native passing, so...
Well, I feel like there hasn't been too much of the Chickasaw Nation. I know there's been a couple different events where a chief has came in and spoke to the students. I've been to a basketball game where at the halftime they did a native stomp dance, which I thought was really interesting and fun to watch. But other than that, there hasn't been too much that I know of.
Like chords and stuff, if you're native and part of the tribe.
So you feel represented at the school?
I would say so, yeah.
It does a good job of teaching about Native American cultures and history, why or why not.
I would like to think that in the English department, we do a good job. I know my colleague, Dr. Shelby Johnson, and myself teach a number of topics in Native American art forms. I've also attended multiple different lectures around campus, speakers, both native and non-native, talking about topics that pertain to Native American people. But I know that it's important to our entire department to represent what I think of as the conversation of America, and to honor all of the voices entering into that conversation, and that includes Native American voices. And so I think it's really important to continue to have these classes, and so Dr. Johnson and I continue to offer them, as well as other folks in the department. But we all in this department, I can say confidently, feel very strongly about making sure Native American stories have a cornerstone in what we teach for American literature and screen studies.
And misconceptions about your culture?
That it's not really real, actually.
I would say with the culture, a lot of people tend to think Native Americans are more like back in time, I would say, and they still like live in tents and like but also a big one is they think we're a lot of like alcoholics, which really gets on my nerves a lot. So I think that's a big
I think that a common misconception is that there's a specific identity of who an Native American is. You can't really stereotype Native American culture because it's made of so many other cultures and traditions. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about it, is that each tribe practices different traditions and beliefs. So
Common misconceptions, I would say, is that natives are kind of stuck in the past. Like we're not living up to times and like uncivilized. I feel like the culture isn't necessarily expressed as much as it used to be, and as authentically maybe.
Some common misconceptions about our culture is that all Native Americans get money from the government and we are a racial group.
You would like people to know about Native American history or culture?
That it's not, a cookie cutter thing. It's all very different depending on the tribe.
that any percentage of blood gives you like tribal benefits, and you don't have to be like 50% above. You could have like literally a drop of it and you would be considered Native American.
big one is like the headdresses and the traditional outfits. I think is a really big deal for the civilization in that. The music too, I think, also really helps because the powwows, I think people need to understand the importance of those more. And it's a fun time, but get into the history of it. And also like the mythology stories, I think, of each tribe are really important. And they're really fun to just learn about too.
is that we actually have our own government, and we actually have our own laws, and very civilized and active and up to times and up to date.
I wish people knew that there are over 600 native nations that predate the United States, and we are not a racial group, and we have political relationships between tribes and the U.S. government.
When did you first learn about Native American cultures or history?
Well, the most significant moment in my early life, learning about Native American cultures and history, was a 7th grade unit in American history that led into a project about the Trail of Tears. Never heard of the Trail of Tears before. It made a significant psychic impact on me and undermined much of what I thought I knew about American history. That became an important focal point for myself and frankly a sticking point to explore, find out more of that history, find out why. That was really the first time that the history of oppression and marginalization of Native Americans entered my consciousness. Previous to that, it would have been caricatures and stereotypes that dominate pop culture representations that I would have seen. So I've seen mascots who are Native American, but I never thought deeply about it that I can recall until that 7th grade time.
What comes to mind when you think about your culture or identity?
Villainized.
Togetherness, home,
Community.
Very uplifting.
Why is that?
It's like in media, anytime you really see any sort of native representation, you're always made to be the villains.
I feel like it's kind of like a family, and there's a lot of support. Everyone's very supportive of each other and those who express their culture.
Why is that?
I just think we all really come together for each other when we need help or anything. We all gather together and try to make the best time of it.
Why is that?
Just because I feel like all tribes are built so they can support the members, and without that support, like, there wouldn't really be connection with your tribe. So yeah.
What is your dream? Like, what do you aspire to be?
My dream is to one day be in the legal field, and I would love to have the opportunity to one day work for the Chickasaw Nation and advocate for my tribe.
I aspire fulfillment. That's all.
My dream is that natives can live on their land and exercise their sovereignty to live in their own culture while their children grow up strong and healthy, committed to carrying our ways.
There's a lot of ways in which studying Native American literature reverberates through all of the different aspects of our lives. Stopping, reconnecting, and reconnecting with ourselves, with each other, with the natural environment, and then also honoring that responsibility of citizenship by being active participants in our civilization. In Hamilton, there's the line, "America, you great unfinished symphony." And the symphony is not composed for one instrument. A symphony is all different instruments playing together, sometimes harmoniously, sometimes dissonantly, but many, many different artists are coming together to create that art form. It's impossible to get to all of the voices participating in the conversation of America, but it's a lifelong process of trying to approach that standard. To being an active participant, it behooves us to actively engage, amplify, respectfully, not speak over other people's voices, but bring them into the conversation, amplify the things they're saying, and direct student attention to those lessons.